lie back on your mat and just start to settle in. You've done this a million times before, so you know how to do it by now. I also noticed that when I was watching the videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, broken record. I say all the same things. So I'm not going to say it all to you guys because you already know it. So just start to close those eyes, deepen your breath, and just let yourself become present here on your mat, letting go of everything else. Deepening the breath. Just checking in with where you are right now. What did you bring with you here onto your mat? What do you want to hold on to? So sometimes we bring some good stuff. We bring some good energy, some good feelings. And then sometimes we bring some stuff that we wish we hadn't brought with us. Maybe some stress or anxiety, some not such good feelings. So if you're noticing any of that, start to let go of that or make a conscious effort to try to let go of it. It's a lot easier said than done, but the first step is to become aware of it. So taking a moment to set that intention. Once you have that intention set, you're going to start to find your way into your full body stretch. So reaching those arms up overhead with that big inhale, starting to roll out the ankles, roll out the wrists, wiggle your fingers and your toes, and just moving a little bit, stretching from side to side. On another breath, the knees are going to start to draw in towards the body. Wrap your arms around your shins. Give yourself that hug as you draw the knees in towards you. Beginning to kind of rock from side to side or circle the knees, maybe moving in any kind of direction. Sometimes it's not even having the knees together. It could be two separate circles. So just beginning to invite a little bit of movement into the body. Let's place both feet down on the mat. So your feet are on the mat, your knees are bent, the right leg is going to straighten. As you lift that right leg up towards the sky, bring the hands behind the leg, massaging the back of the leg, bending and straightening the knee, rolling out the ankle. Just trying to draw that leg towards you. And slowly placing that right leg back down on the mat, extending the left leg, lifting it up, start to draw the left leg towards you, wrapping the arms around the back of the leg, using your breath here. So each time you inhale, imagine that length that you're creating in the back of the leg. Anytime we inhale, we're creating space, creating length. And then when you exhale, you're using that. So on the exhale, you can start to draw that leg a little bit closer to you. And place that left leg back down on the mat. Draw both knees in as you start to rock yourself up to the seated position. So taking a couple rocks and then finding your way all the way back up to that seated position. Your legs are crossed. Your hands are resting on your lap. Your spine is nice and long. You can kind of rock side to side a little bit to just sort of settle yourself in. And then on a big inhale, those shoulders will start to roll. Draw those shoulders up towards your ears. Exhale as you release them down your back. Do that a couple more times. Moving those shoulders in both directions. So a couple times you're lifting them up and then releasing them back. And then the next time you'll lift them up backwards and kind of release them forward. Let's all pause at the top. So draw those shoulders up towards the ears. Hold it for a moment. And then with a big exhale, let it go. Good. And then your chin will come into your chest. Lengthen that spine, lean your head forward. And then start to roll your head all the way around. So beginning circles with the neck. Once you're feeling even on both sides, you'll start to make your way back through center, taking your time, but eventually lifting that head back up. Your hands are still on your knees, We're going to bring the right hand behind you. So kind of behind that right hip. You're going to start to twist to the right. So you can press that left hand into the left knee and twist, looking over that right shoulder. So keep lengthening through the spine, keep twisting here. If it feels more comfortable to have the left hand on the right knee, you can also do that and kind of press the hand into the knee. I kind of like to press that left knee away from me and twist, but it's really whichever feels more comfortable for you. We're working on getting that twist to the spine, and then we're going to take it to the other side. So the left hand is going to come behind that left hip. I'm going to bring my right hand to my right knee, press into that knee and sort of twist over the left shoulder, but you can bring that right hand to the left knee if that feels better. You're going to be looking behind you over that left shoulder. I'm trying to face forward because when I look backwards, I realize I get quiet. So you're looking over that left shoulder. As you come back to center, take a big deep breath in, reach those arms up overhead. Your right hand is going to come to the side of you and then lean to the right side, lengthening the whole left side of the body. Roll that shoulder open, look under that arm. Reach the left fingertips like you're trying to reach for something that's just out of reach. And then lifting it all the way back up. Take it over to the left side. Left hand comes down, right fingertips reach. Press down through that hip. So think about trying to keep that right hip grounding down and then lengthen through the right side. On the next inhale, lift it all the way back up. And let's find our tabletop. So your hands are coming down to the mat. You're coming onto those knees. That back is nice and flat. As you inhale, press the hips down, press the stomach down, take the knees up. Exhale, round the back, press the ground away from you, and go ahead and continue to move through that cat and cow, starting to move the spine, move the neck, maybe the hips and the shoulders even get involved a little bit. You can rock the hips from side to side, move the head from side to side. Let's extend our right leg, keeping the toes tucked on the mat as you start to press yourself forwards and backwards, stretching out the back of the leg, the bottom of the foot. And that right leg is going to come back down next to the left. We'll extend the left leg, keep those toes tucked as you start to press yourself forwards and backwards on the left side. So kind of pressing the left heel behind you and then propelling yourself forward, using that foot to kind of stretch the leg and the foot, really. And left knee comes back down to meet the right. We're going to find our first downward facing dog. So your toes tuck, straighten those legs as your hips press up and back, and then continue all those little movements you were making. Kind of move the feet, move the hips a little bit, straighten the legs, pedal out those feet, almost like you're riding a bicycle, and kind of lift one heel and then press it back down. We're going to start to come to a forward fold at the back of your mat. So you're going to walk your hands towards your feet, coming to that forward fold. Take opposite elbows and just hang here. You can have a bend in your knees, holding on to opposite elbows. Let that head become heavy. So imagine your head is trying to hang between your shoulders. Kind of letting gravity do the work here. You can kind of rock from side to side. You can move a little bit. And then we're going to slowly start to lift all the way up. If it feels comfortable, try to lift up without taking those hands off those elbows or maybe even holding onto your wrists. If that feels more comfortable, you're going to lift all the way up. Bring those arms right up overhead. So you're either holding onto your wrists or you're holding onto elbows. Relax those shoulders so the ears are right between the shoulders. Take a big deep breath in as you stand up a little taller. As you exhale, lean to the left. So you're stretching through the whole right side of the body again. looking under that right arm. Press the left shoulders forward, draw the right shoulder back. So rather than your chest kind of facing the ground, you're shining the chest and the heart up towards the sky. On the next inhale, lift it up, shoulders relax again, and then take it over to the right side. Left shoulder rolls back, so you're looking under that left arm. And on the next inhale, come back up through center. As you exhale, you can reach those arms up overhead and then dive it all the way back down to that forward fold. We're going to take a breath in, bring your hands to your shins, flatten that back, halfway lift. So think about making a 90-degree angle with the back and the legs. So you're kind of, at a 90-degree angle as you inhale. As you exhale, fold. Let's do that again. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. This time we're going to walk it back out to a plank. Go ahead and bring your hands back to the top of the mat. Finding that plank position. Tuck your tailbone. One more breath. And then our knees are going to come down to the mat as you start to lower yourself all the way onto your stomach. On the next inhale, lift it up to that baby cobra. So the head, the chest, the hands are all lifting. And then your hands can press back down into the mat as you find your downward facing dog again. Press those hands down, hips go back, toes tuck. Downward facing dog for another 3 breaths here. And again, we're going to walk the hands to the back of the mat, coming back to that forward fold, all the way to the back of your mat. This time taking any forward fold that you like. So it doesn't have to be holding on to the opposite elbows. Your hands can be behind your head. They can be by your legs. They could just be hanging free like a rag doll. Or you could do that elbows again. If you like that, hold on to your elbows again. That's fine. And on the next inhale, we're going to lift all the way up. Start to reach those arms up overhead. Big back bend here as you take your gaze towards the sky. Interlace your hands. Press your palms up towards the ceiling. So your fingers are interlaced. You're pressing those palms up. As you exhale, take it over to the left. So one more side stretch. Lots of side stretches here today. Press your hips to the right. Press your palms to the left. And then as you inhale, lift it up. Exhale, take it over to the opposite side, stretching through the other side. On the next inhale, lift it back up through center. As you exhale, dive it all the way back down, forward fold. Inhale, hands come to shins, flat back. As you exhale, fold a little deeper and then start to walk it out to that plank position. Walking those fingertips back to the top of the mat. Tucking that tailbone, core is engaged. So think about trying to draw your belly button up towards your spine. And then one more time, knees come down as you lower yourself all the way onto your mat. This time as you inhale, lift it up to whatever cobra you like. So maybe your hands are pressing into the mat. Maybe you're keeping it a little lower. And then we'll all lower it back down, back to that downward facing dog. Hands press into the mat, toes tuck, hips go up and back. This time, let's walk it to the top of the mat. So your feet are going to come up to your hands this time. Still coming to a forward fold, but this time you're walking forward. Hands come to your shins as you inhale for a halfway lift. As you exhale, fold. Next inhale, lift it all the way up. Reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come to the sides of the body. Go ahead and let it go. We're going to bring our hands kind of to the base of your spine, the the hips kind of right above where your back pockets would be. Your feet can be a little bit apart, so they don't have to be toe to toe, a little space between your feet. Take a big deep breath in. As you exhale, you're going to do a little back bend. So your hips are pressing forward, but the upper body is leaning back. So imagine if you were standing against a wall, your hips would still be touching the wall, just the upper body is leaning back. If it feels comfortable, you can let that head release back too. That doesn't feel comfortable, just keep it more in the body or in the spine. And then slowly lifting all the way back up. Take a big deep breath in, reach those arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold it forward. That should feel good after leaning back. Now you get to bend the spine forward. It's a nice little counter pose there. We're going to put a little bend in our knees so that you can bring your hands to the mat. We're going to step that left foot back, coming into our low lunge. So go ahead and start to make your way into that low lunge. As soon as you get there, that left knee can come down. So those left toes on top, the left knee is on the mat. We're going to keep our left hand down, and you're going to lift the right arm up towards the sky. And you're looking up towards that right hand. Right hand is going to come back down to the mat. You're actually going to take your right hand and bring it to the inside of your right foot. So your both hands are on the inside of the right foot. Then you're going to sort of wiggle that right foot to the outer edge of your mat a little bit, so it's not at the center. Your left hand can stay down. You're going to roll to the outer edge of that right foot. Take your right hand, start to press the right knee away from you. So you're looking towards that right leg, or maybe even further. Maybe you're almost looking back towards that back leg. You're twisting here. So looking at the right knee, the right shoulder, or maybe that left foot. Think about pressing that left hip down towards the mat as you get that little twist in the spine, and also a little opening in your hip. So you're working on twisting and opening the hip. Let's go ahead and unravel that so you can sort of walk that right foot back to the center of your mat. The right hand can come to the outside of the right foot. We're going to come into, actually warm up those hips first. So as you exhale, press the hips back, fold over that right leg. We'll start to do that little warm up flow. So inhale, press the hips forward, lift up through the upper body. Exhale, press the hips back, fold over that right leg. Do that a couple more times. And then the next time you come forward, you'll come into that crescent lunge. Hands can either stay where they are, just lift up the upper body, or hands come to the knees, or they reach up towards the sky. Not as important what the arms are doing as what those hips are doing. So really focus on pressing that left hip down, lengthening the spine, opening up to the front of the body. And then we're going to bring our hands back to frame out that right foot. You'll tuck the left toes, straighten that back leg back into your runner's lunge here. And then we're going to find a forward fold again. So maybe it's a giant step, maybe it's a couple steps. That left foot will come back to meet the right. You'll take that little halfway lift as you inhale with your hands on your shins. As you exhale, you'll fold. And on the next inhale, you'll lift it all the way up, reach those arms up overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Good. Do the same thing on the other side. So on the next inhale, the arms lift back up. As you exhale, fold it forward. Little bend in those knees so that your fingers can come to the mat. This time, the right foot steps back and that left leg stays at the top of the mat, or that left foot stays at the top of the mat. We're going to bring the right knee down, untuck those toes. Right hand stays down. So your right hand and your left foot are in a line. Left arm is going to lift up towards the sky for that twist. Try to keep the left knee on top of the left ankle here. So rather than letting that left leg kind of flap out to the side, see if you can keep the knee on top of the ankle. And then that left hand is going to come down to the mat, but it's coming to the inside of the left foot as you start to wiggle that left foot off to the side a little bit, so you can kind of inch it heel and toe until that left foot is off the mat or on the edge of your mat. You can roll to the outer edge of that left foot, so my foot isn't flat on the ground. I'm sort of on the edge of the left foot. Take that left hand, start to press into the knee and use it to twist. So I'm looking over my left shoulder back towards my right leg. Still thinking about pressing that right hip down towards the mat. And then coming back out of that twist, so unraveling the spine, you'll start to wiggle that left foot back to the center of your mat. Your left hand can come back to the outside of that left foot. As you exhale, press those hips back, straighten that left leg. And go ahead and take a couple rounds just like that, pressing those hips down, bending that left knee, inhaling as you lift up. And exhaling, sending the hips back. Couple more just like that. The next time you come forward, you'll find that Anjaneyasana, crescent lunge, hips press down, upper body starts to lift up. Your hands are either on your left knee or reaching up towards the sky. Take your gaze up wherever your arms are. So if your hand's on your knee, you're still looking up, you're still relaxing those shoulders, thinking about opening through the heart and the chest. And we'll all bring our hands back to frame out the left foot, tuck the back toes, straighten that back leg. We're going to step it up to a forward fold. So your right foot comes back up to meet the left. Hands come to shins, halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale as you fold. Next inhale, lifts it all the way up, reach those arms up overhead, little back bend. Hands come to heart center. Good. You can go ahead and let those hands come to the sides of the body. We're going to step the left foot all the way to the back of the mat as you start to come into your warrior one. So that left foot is at the back of the mat, kind of grounding down, pressing down to the outer edge of that left foot. Inhale as you lift your arms up. Exhale as you bend into that right knee. Shoulders are relaxed. You're looking up towards your hands. Press that left hip forward, dial that right hip back. See if you can bend into that right knee a little bit more. We're going to hold it for 2 more breaths. From our warrior one, we're going to come into a warrior two by reaching that right arm forward, the left arm back. That left heel is going to pull in a little bit so that the left foot is now parallel to the back of your mat rather than at that angle. Relax the shoulders, bend into that right knee a little bit more. Usually we can come a little deeper into our warrior two. Take your gaze towards that right middle finger. We're going to flip the right palm. So your right hand is facing up towards the ceiling. Reach forward like you have something in your hand and you're trying to hand it to someone. And then we're going to lift that right arm up and overhead, coming into a peaceful warrior. So the left hand is resting softly on the back leg. The right fingertips are reaching behind you. Still bending into that right knee. So see if you can bend into that right knee a little more as you reach back. On the next inhale, we're going to come back to our warrior two for just a breath. And then you can go ahead and straighten that right leg, step it back to the top of your mat and shake it out. Let it go. Roll out those shoulders, swing out those arms, give those legs a little break. You were bending that right knee for a long time. So give that leg a little relief. And then we're going to take it over to the other side. So this time the left foot is your front foot. That right foot is stepping to the back of the mat. Hips are facing forward. As you inhale, lift those arms up. As you exhale, bend into that left knee, coming into your warrior one on the opposite side. So for this one, that back foot is at that angle, the hips are pressing forward, we're facing forward, everything is forward here. Your shoulders are squared, your hips are squared. You're looking forward, or maybe you're looking up. You're bending into that left knee. See if you can bend into that knee even more for 2 more breaths. And then we're going to open this warrior 1 up into a warrior 2. Left fingertips reach forward, right fingertips reach back. Slide that right heel in a little bit so that that back foot is parallel. Those arms are really strong. See if you can bend into that left knee even more. Looking towards the left fingertips. And then that left palm is going to flip. Your left hand is facing up towards the ceiling. Reach that left arm forward. So you're getting that length when you reach forward. Take a breath in and then lift that left arm up and overhead. So still bending into that left knee, reaching the left fingertips behind you, feeling that stretch on the left side of the upper body. And as you inhale, come back to that warrior 2. Straighten that left leg, step it back up to the top of your mat. And again, shake it out. Shake out the shoulders, rock the arms, swing the arms, whatever feels good. Going to come into a balance. So if you want to step off your mat, if you want to come towards the wall, go ahead and set yourself up for your balance. You're going to come into a tree pose. So your left foot is your standing foot. Your right foot is coming to that inner ankle. Your hands are at heart center. So your right toes could be still touching the mat. Just the tips of the toes might be on the mat still. Or maybe you lift that right foot up a little higher. Maybe you lift it up a lot higher, bringing it towards the knee, either right above the knee or right below the knee. And then deciding where you want to go with those hands. Maybe it's out to the sides or up overhead. We're going to hold this for 5 breaths. So challenge yourself to stay here for 5 breaths. If you need to put that foot down real quick and pick it up, that is fine. Try to focus on something that's not moving, keeping your gaze kind of tied to some tiny little thing that's going to help you hold that balance. And we're going to start to bring our hands back to heart center if they weren't there already. Let's let that right leg come down to the mat. Shake out your standing leg. Just kind of let it go a little bit. Sometimes folding forward can feel good. Relieve that tightness in the back. And then the right foot is going to become the standing leg. So get a nice firm foundation with that right foot. You can fan out the toes a little bit, create a nice base for yourself. And then that left foot starts to come to the right inner ankle. Those hands start to come to heart center. And maybe you're there. Maybe this is where you're staying. If you are adding on, that left foot can start to slide up the leg a little bit. Those hands can start to find whatever shape they want to be in. For 5 breaths again. Counting the breaths is a trick to make sure that you are breathing because sometimes we don't realize it, but we're holding our breath. So make sure you are breathing here. Big, full breaths. And then those hands can start to come back to heart center. That left foot can start to come back to the mat. Shake out the standing leg. Take that forward fold. Make your way back to your mat if you had stepped off of your mat. And then on an inhale, we're going to lift those arms up overhead. As you exhale, dive it down, forward fold. Inhale as you lift up halfway, flatten that back. Exhale as you fold, bringing the fingertips to the mat. We're going to step it back to our downward facing dog. Go ahead and walk those feet to the back of the mat to your downward facing dog. From our downward dog, we're rolling it out into a plank position. Shoulders coming over the wrist, tailbone tucked under, core is engaged. And the knees come to the mat as you lower all the way down onto that stomach. As you inhale, press the upper body up. You decide how far you're going here. So maybe staying in that baby cobra with the hands lifted, maybe pressing yourself up a little more. And slowly lowering all the way back down, back to your downward facing dog. Hands press into the mat, hips go up and back as the toes tuck, the legs straighten. Taking your gaze to the top of the mat, walk it back to your forward fold, or forward to your forward fold, I should say. Hands come to your shins as you inhale, halfway lift. Exhale as you fold. Inhale, lift it all the way up, reach those arms up overhead. As you exhale, we're going to dive it right back down, forward fold on an exhale. Inhale to prepare, put that bend in the knees, bring your fingertips to the mat, step it back to your downward facing dog. From your down dog, you'll roll it back into that plank position. Tailbone tucks, shoulders are above the wrists. Knees come to the mat as you slowly lower yourself down. So you're hugging those elbows in towards the body as you come all the way down onto your stomach. Press yourself up into that cobra pose. And then lower yourself all the way back down. This time find a child's pose. So you're pressing your hips up and back. Bring your toes together. Have your knees a little bit apart so that you can start to fold into that child's pose. Any variation that you like here. Fingertips can be towards the top of the mat. Hands can stack on top of each other, resting your head on your hands, or even bringing those fingers next to your toes. Taking 3 breaths here. From our child's pose, we're going to make our way back to a tabletop position. So go ahead and start to lift up on the hips. Start to bring the knees under the hips. If they were wider, kind of readjust so that the hips are above the knees, the shoulders are above the wrists. And then take a couple rounds of your cat and cow just to warm up again. Pressing those hips down, take the gaze up. Exhale as you round the back, press the ground away. And just take a couple rounds like that. As you start to come back through center, finding a neutral spine, we'll extend the right leg long. So lift that right leg up, keep that leg behind you. Take a breath in as you draw the right knee in towards you, rounding your back. And then exhale, extend it long. We're going to do 2 more of those. Inhale, right knee draws towards the nose, the back rounds. Exhale as you extend. One more time. Inhale, knee to nose. Exhale, extend. Pause here. Your right hand is going to stay on the mat, and then you'll lift that left arm up. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Right knee bends. And then you'll start to reach back with that left hand for the right foot. So you know by now you don't have to grab the foot. If you're just reaching back, you're still getting that bend in your spine as you reach for it. If the foot is within reach, then you can take the top of the foot, but you don't have to. If you have the foot, you'll press the foot away from the body to deepen that back bend. Another option is to have that strap around your foot. So if you have a rope or a strap or something that you can wrap around the foot, you can hold on to that strap. And then we're all going to re-extend the arm and leg. So lengthen them one more time. And then that left hand can come down to the mat. The right knee can come down to the mat. Those hips can rock out from side to side a little bit. Shake it out. We'll take it over to the other side. So the left leg extends. Take your breath in. Draw that left knee to the nose. Round the back. Exhale, extend it long. 2 more times like that. Inhale, knee to nose, round the back. Exhale, extend it long. 1 more time. Inhale, knee to nose, round the back. Exhale, extend it long. Pause here. Find your balance. And then that right arm starts to lift. So again, opposite arm, opposite leg. Left knee bends. And then that right arm starts to reach back for the left leg. If you're reaching for it, keep lifting up through the upper body. If you have the foot, take the foot away from the body. And we'll go ahead and re-extend that arm and leg. Bring the right hand down to the mat. Bring the left knee down. Shake out those hips from side to side, or a little cat and cow pose. And we're going to start to come into our pigeon pose on our stomachs. I don't think we've done that in here in a little while. So we're going to come into our pigeon on our stomach by bringing that right knee behind the right wrist. You're going to start to slide that left leg behind you, pressing the top of the left foot into the mat. Flex through that right foot. So the right foot is engaged and flexed. If you feel like a lot of your weight is leaning onto the right side of your body, a couple things you can do. You can bring that right foot a little closer to you. That should help sort of shift some weight to the left side. You still feel like you're leaning to the right a lot, grab a blanket or a pillow or something and slide it under that right hip so that you kind of prop up that right hip a little bit. That'll make those hips squared off as well. The idea is that both hips are squared. Once they're as square as they're going to be, take a deep breath in through the front of the body, big open space. And then as you exhale, you're going to start to lower it down. You can start by coming onto your elbows. And maybe this feels like enough and you're going to stay here. Maybe eventually you'll come a little further down. You decide how far you're coming into this pose. But try to find something to rest your head on. So that could be a couple things. That could mean if you're on your elbows, you can bend your elbows and sort of rest your chin in your palms. You can also stack your fists on top of each other and rest your forehead on the fists. Kind of make a little stack with your fists. If you have blocks, you can rest your head on the blocks. Doesn't matter what it is. The idea is that you're resting your head on something so that you can start to relax the shoulders and the neck and the upper body so you're not creating that tightness and that tension. And then we're going to start to walk the hands back towards the body as you start to press the upper body up. We're going to do a little bit of a little funky transition. You're going to lean over to the right side now. So before I said don't lean to the right side, now you're going to start to lean onto your right hip. And you're going to draw that left leg forward, extend that left leg long. So if you have to kind of get there in a sort of different way, that's okay. But we're coming to a seat with that left leg lengthened and the right foot is in that left inner thigh. So take a breath in, reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, you're going to fold over that left leg. You can bend the knee a little bit if that feels good. You can kind of massage the back of the leg. Do whatever you want to do here to start to stretch out the back of that leg, maybe even moving the spine a little bit, inhaling and sitting up, exhaling and folding. On the next inhale, we'll come back up, lifting up through the upper body. We're going to find a twist. So you're going to take that right foot to the outside of the left knee, crossing that right leg over the left. Right hand comes to the side of the body. And as you inhale, the left arm lifts up. As you exhale, you're twisting to the right, hooking that left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Using that elbows press into the knee to deepen your twist as you start to look behind you over that right shoulder. And then you'll come back through center all the way over to the left side. You can bring both hands to the ground on the left side and just sort of twist in the opposite direction. So you're sort of unraveling that twist that you just created. And then you'll come back through center, extend both legs long, tap the back of those legs out, and then you'll start to make your way into your tabletop on the other side. So we're not on the other side. We'll do the other side, but to get there, starting in your tabletop, you can move through a couple rounds of your cat and cow if that feels good, just as a way of resetting. And then when you're ready to get into your pigeon on the other side, that left knee will start to slide behind the left wrist. That right foot starts to walk behind you as you press the top of the right foot into the mat, flex that left foot. And again, try to adjust the weight so that it's even on both sides. If you're leaning a lot to the left, you're going to slide a blanket or a pillow under that left hip. You're going to draw the left foot a little closer to the body. And then when you're ready to take it down, you'll take that breath in, opening up to the front of the body. And on an exhale, the hands start to walk away from you, coming onto the elbows first, maybe staying here the whole time. The idea is that we're stretching that hip. So if you're feeling it in the left hip, then that's where you want to be. You just want to be mindful of the knee. If there's any kind of sharp pain in your knee, we can talk about that later. Let me know if there's sharp pain because you don't want to have any kind of sharp pain in the knee. The same thing as you did on the other side, find somewhere to rest your head, on your fists, on your hands, on a block. Close your eyes here if you can, and just send that breath to anywhere that feels tight. So if you're noticing that your hip is tight, focus on that area, visualize it relaxing. If you notice that your shoulders are all the way up by your ears, see if you can relax those shoulders a little bit. And we're going to hold it for about 3 more breaths. On the next breath, you'll start to walk those hands back towards you as you start to press the upper body up. And again, we're going to do that little transition by leaning over to the left side this time. Start to draw that right leg forward, eventually straightening that right leg and bringing the left foot into the right inner thigh. Flex those right toes. Take a breath in as you lift up. Exhale as you fold forward. Slowly starting to lift up through the upper body. We'll find that twist by taking the left foot to the outside of the right knee. Left hand comes to the side of the body. As you inhale, the right arm lifts up. As you exhale, twist to the left. Hooking that right elbow on the outside of the left knee. Thinking about that length and that twist. So inhale, length. Exhale, twist. And then we'll start to come back through center. Take it over to the right side for a breath. Your hands will come to the mat as you just sort of bring out that spine, unravel a little bit. And all the way back through center. Left leg extends. Tap the back of the legs on the mat as you start to prepare to take it all the way down. So sliding so that your feet are at the top of your mat. Grab a sip of water, put some socks on, whatever you want. And then you'll start to take it all the way down onto your back and take a full body stretch once you get there. So coming all the way back, big inhale. As you exhale, the hands come to the sides of the body. So just kind of take a moment here to settle in, to slow it down. And then we're going to come into our back bend by bending the knees, bringing the feet to the base of the spine. Take a breath in and start to press those hips up towards the sky. Your hands can continue to press into the mat, or they'll interlace under the tailbone. And slowly lowering that spine all the way back down onto the mat. Once your tailbone touches, your knees can rock from side to side, making that little windshield wiper movement as you start to make your way into your inversion. So as always, you have those two choices. Either legs will extend here, or you'll do your legs up the wall. So go ahead and choose the inversion that you want for this evening. Hands could be behind the thighs. You could be sitting on your hands. If you have a block, you can also put the block under your hips, or even a pillow or anything that you have. So if you'd rather that than sitting on your hands, that can kind of make it a little more comfortable as well. You're going to hold this for about 7 breaths. Unless your legs are up the wall and you want to stay there for the rest of class, then you are welcome to do that. Once you've taken those 7 breaths and you're ready to start to come out of it, the knees will start to draw back in towards you. Your arms will wrap around your shins as you give yourself a little hug, and you'll just rock it out. You'll make circles, go side to side. Even lifting up your head can feel good, kind of stretching out that spine, drawing your forehead toward your knees. And you'll place your head back down on the mat, extending your arms wide to either side as we start to find a twist, bringing those knees over to the right side, pressing the shoulders down, gazing up towards the ceiling or to the left side, or maybe not looking anywhere at all because you're closing your eyes now. And just start to relax. Relax through those shoulders, relax through the legs. So if you feel like you're tensing your legs and you're forcing a shape, try to change so that you're not doing that and you're comfortable here. So if that means maybe having less of a bend in the knees or adjusting your head, do whatever that is so that you can feel comfortable here. Maybe your elbows are bent in the cactus arm shape. And we'll start to bring those knees back through center so that you can make your way over onto the other side. So the knees will start to come off to the left, and then you'll readjust just as you did on the other side. So finding a place for your arms, finding a place for your head. Your shoulders are relaxed. Draw that right shoulder back down towards the mat. And then on the next inhale, those knees will come back through center. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees release out to either side. So your feet are on the mat. Your knees are out to either side, kind of like a butterfly pose, but lying down. Your hands can be on your inner thighs or on your stomach, or even just extended wide out to either side, whatever feels comfortable. Start to relax through those legs a little bit. Taking a couple breaths here. If your hands are on your thighs, you're not pushing or forcing anything, but maybe you're just creating a little pressure to gently press those knees down a little further. While you're here, start to think about where you want to end your practice tonight. So start to decide what shape that's going to look like and what you need to do to get yourself there. And you might decide that this is it. You're there, you're staying right here. Great, that's beautiful. If there's somewhere else you want to be, you can start to make your way there now. Maybe extending your legs long, extending your arms wide. Or maybe the knees are bending. Just take your time as you start to set yourself up. So no rush, as always, as you slowly start to make your way into that final shape. Once you are there, your eyes will close if they're not closed already. You'll start to let yourself become heavy, relaxing the shoulders, relaxing the spine as your body starts to melt into the earth beneath you. Just take a couple moments here in the stillness, enjoying these last few moments here on your mat in Shavasana. Slowly starting to deepen your breath. Gently waking the body up slowly, beginning by moving your fingers and your toes, and then allowing those small movements to get a little bigger, moving into the ankles and the wrists, eventually taking any stretch that feels comfortable, maybe one last full body stretch, the arms overhead, maybe those knees bend if they were straight. If you are still on your back, you can turn onto your side with the knees bent, your head resting on your arm in a little fetal position. And just take these last few moments to say thank you to yourself for ending your day, or maybe not quite ending your day, but starting your evening in a way that's going to set yourself up really good for the rest of the day, the rest of the week. Kind of resetting, rebalancing, refocusing. When you're ready, you can start to make your way back through seated, gently pressing yourself up, bringing those hands to heart center, keeping those eyes closed. I am so grateful for all of you for joining me tonight, for bringing that light and that energy with you and sharing it with us. I hope you have the most beautiful Thursday night, Until I see you next time, namaste.